I think in hindsight, you kind of recognize that at some point you were getting in your own way because you just wanted the old you to come back and that was actually kind of preventing you from becoming who you are now.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. In that whole grief process of not thinking I was ever gonna get back to being a nurse practitioner and not knowing what my future held, I was pushing myself so hard. And you can do too much of a good thing with anything. And if you push yourself too hard in your recovery, you will slow the recovery because your brain can't tolerate all that pressure you're putting on it. And I put a lot of stress on myself. So as I pushed through and I did all the things, I was like the model OTPT patient. I did all of my exercises exactly as I was told to do, regardless of how I felt with it, because I thought it was going to make me get better. Until my OT at one point sat down with me and she said, "How about we take a break because you're working too hard and we're not getting anywhere?" I said, "Okay, that's valid. Let's do that." And it was my EMDR therapist, actually. So I had PTSD from the car accident, and I added EMDR, the eye movement desensitization reprocessing, for anybody who doesn't know what that means, that kind of trauma-specific therapy to get over the car accident, because I could not drive down the road without having a panic attack if an emergency vehicle drove by me, even without their lights on. And it's I had to go through that intersection, like I said, to get my kid to swim. I was driving all the time and I could not control my emotions when I was in the car. So I did this EMDR, and she's actually the one that told me that I was getting in my way. She brought out this book and we talked about acceptance. And it struck me, and I'll tell you why. Because in this little statement about acceptance, it talks about pain, whether it's emotional or physical. If you have pain and you have non acceptance, meaning you're not accepting where you are, it leads to suffering. That same pain, whether it's emotional or physical, and you accept where you are, you don't have to like it, you just have to accept it, just leads to pain. That suffering part is optional. And me and my little nerd brain, we do a lot of Star Wars in my house. So it reminded me of the path to the dark side. So my new goal was to avoid the dark side.
Mm.
And in order to avoid the dark side, I had to accept where I was. So I had to accept the fact that right now, I can't read more than 1 or 2 sentences. Right now, I can't remember my medical knowledge. I can't do all the things at home that I wanna do. I can't get the dishes done and the laundry and this and this and this and this, and I can't get back to work right now. But it's a right now thing. It's not a forever thing, it's a right now thing. And once I came to that conclusion and I realized that I just had to accept where I was right now so that I could work on it, I actually started to heal.
Mm. Mhm. There are lots of universal truths in Star Wars.
Yes. There are, yes.
And that's a very good point that you make. It reminds me of I had a patient come in and she said, "Well, I finally started doing some stress management and it's really helping." And sometimes we hear words like acceptance or stress management, and they just kind of sound like words or sound bites or concepts. But when we do legitimately put these things into practice, they really do make a
Yes.
difference.
Yeah, yeah. So I share that with my patients all the time, and we find what sticks to them. What does that mean to you? What can you attach to that so that you can realize that right now you are where you are? And I don't make a lot of promises to my patients, but I do promise them that they can get better. I can never promise how much, I can never promise how fast. But I can promise that in a year and a half of running my concussion clinic now, I have not had one patient come in that hasn't gotten better to some degree. So if you do something, you will get better. If you do nothing, maybe you will.
I think that's a very good way of framing that for people because people do often want definitive answers, and we can't give people definitive answers when you have a injury that's as complicated as a brain injury.
Yeah. I always said I wanted a broken bone. Out of that car accident, I wish I would have just broken my arm or something because a broken arm has a set mark. You can put a star on your calendar when that date is going to be that your arm is going to be healed. You can't do that with a brain injury.
Yeah.